Everybody's screaming about the Epstein Files and Trump this, Trump that, but nobody wants to walk you through the actual timeline, the victims, and the people who really got protected. So tonight, I'm going to do what the media will not do. We're going to listen to the survivors, look at the receipts, and ask the very simple question: who is really being protected, and why did the truth only matter once they thought they could weaponize it against Trump? Watch this.
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question that's out there. Why wouldn't they have been released the last 4 years when President Biden was in office?
Well, that's the question every American is asking. Or not every American, but so many Americans are asking. What the hell is he hiding? Why doesn't he want them released?
Senator, on that note, just I guess a question.
Now, you hear what just happened there. The reporter says, why weren't the Epstein files released when Biden was in office? And Schumer takes the same question and just lobs it at Trump. This is what I mean when I say they do not respect you. They're not even trying to answer. They just say, what's he hiding, right? And hope you never notice who had the power in the last 4 years. Well, before this year, my bad. 4 years prior to Trump. So before we get into Trump timelines, flights, and all of that, I want you to see who this is really about. Forget the politicians for a second. Listen to the people who actually live this.
I suffered so much pain.
So much pain.
So much pain.
I suffered so much pain. I was 14 years old.
I was 16 years old.
I was 16.
17.
14 years old.
This is me.
This was me.
This is me.
When I met Jeffrey Epstein.
This is me when I met Jeffrey Epstein.
There are about 1,000 of us.
It's time to bring the secrets out of the shadows. It's time to shine a light into the darkness.
Now, that's who this conversation should have been about. Not Twitter points, not social media point, not Parsi jerseys. I can't even talk, excuse me. Actual girls who were 14, 15, 16, who spent over a decade in hiding because powerful people and powerful networks wanted this buried. Notice what they're asking for. They are not saying just give us the names that hurt Trump, right? They're saying, hey, release all the files, all of them. 5 administrations. Stop hiding this. And the second that demand threaten the wrong people, I want you to watch what happens next, because somebody tried to blow the whistle on this years ago. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody tried to blow the whistle on this years ago, and the media sat on it.
You don't care about the victims. You're hoping for a gotcha moment. Who's Virginia Roberts? Virginia Roberts is Virginia Giuffre's. See, way back then, she was Virginia Roberts, and she was in hiding for more than 12 years because of what happened to her. And Amy Robach of ABC found her, tracked her down, convinced her to tell her story. She came with all of the courage in the world to come forward with all the evidence, the names like Clinton, royalty, and other powerful people, emails and photos, all of the evidence. And Amy was going to run with it, and ABC said no. She fought for 3 years to run that story, and they said no, to protect the Clintons and all of those powerful people. So she let the world know she was being stifled. You guys never said a word. You didn't say shit. Then all of a sudden we have an email in which they crossed out the name and wrote victim, and you saw Trump's name and you bit hook, line, and sinker. Problem is, that was actually part of that evidence from more than 10 years ago. It was from Virginia. And she was very clear that Donald Trump was never involved, and she was nothing but cordial. But they crossed the name out so that you would bite, because if you knew who she was, you knew it would already be discredited. You've ignored the names like Bradley Edwards, who was a lawyer for over 200 victims that said Trump wasn't involved and answered their subpoenas, wrote a book and said he wasn't involved. The FBI said he wasn't involved and was fully cooperative. Epstein's lawyer says he wasn't involved. Michael Cohen, who fucking hates him, said he wasn't involved. He tried to get the the documents released as it related to the grand juries, and he's been blocked by 3 judges. But you ignore all that because you saw one email and you ignored 33,000 documents because you thought you had a gotcha moment because you never cared about the victims because you never posted ever until Trump got into office.
So let me get this straight. Virginia Roberts, who is Virginia Giuffre's, in hiding for over 12 years. ABC finds her, tracks her down. She names names, brings photos, emails, evidence, all the above. And ABC says, nope, we're not running this. They sat on it for years, not because they love victims, but because it puts powerful people, including the Clintons, in the crosshairs. But the minute they think they can snatch Trump into an email, cross the name out and spin it as gotcha, suddenly everybody cares about Epstein again. That's not justice. That is content farming, if you ask me, in these parts of the streets where I work in. That is political marketing on top of real trauma. And here's the part they really, really hate. Even people on the left have been saying this out loud. If I say it, I'm just some right-wing YouTuber to them, right? So listen to Charlamagne. Now, actually, before I play this clip, I'm going to have to speed it up for copyright reasons. Hold on, I should have had that queued up before I did this. I'm sorry. So we're going to have to hear the little chipmunk just slightly, but y'all bear with me.
It's just funny how the news works. Bill Clinton, wrote a letter to, Jeffrey Epstein as well for his birthday, but nobody's talking about that. And Jeffrey Epstein had a picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and high heels, in his New York mansion, but nobody's talking about that. My thing is this: I don't care who's on the list. Everybody got to go. Burn it all down. Like that's just simple as that. Mutually assured destruction. Whoever's on that list need to go. Nobody needs to be protecting pedophiles. I don't care what party they are.
No, period. And, to that point, though, Clinton is not the president right now. If he was,
I'm sorry, but it's just like that. That response to that is just annoying, but my bad.
Needs to be protecting pedophiles. I don't care what party they are.
No, period. And, to that point, though, Clinton is not the president right now. If he was, you think that, anyways, yeah, I think he would still be under scrutiny if he was the president right now.
No, he wouldn't, because liberal media wouldn't push the issue.
Oh, okay.
It's just funny how the news works. Bill Clinton.
I'm very surprised that Charlamagne decided to reply to that like that. Now, that painting was not a rumor, by the way. That picture of Bill Clinton in a dress and heels was actually in Epstein's mansion, and it was real. And Charlamagne is saying what any sane person should be saying. I don't care who was on the list. Everybody got to go. Stop protecting these pedos, man. I don't care who they are, what party they are affiliated with. That should be the standard. Not only care if it hits Trump, go quiet when it hits Clinton or any other favorite. So let's deal with the Trump part now. All right, because the media keeps running the same 4 photos like that's an argument. Somebody actually sat down and laid the timeline out. And when you look at the dates and the flights and what happened after, the story they sold you starts to fall apart.
You might not like the truth, but I'll never tell a lie. Democrats and the media are getting extremely lazy, recycling the same 4 photos of President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. But the reality is that this man is the antithesis of this man. And I'm about to lay down a timeline that's going to blow the media's narrative apart. First of all, these photos that they keep circulating from the 90s, let me tell you something about this man right here, okay? He was the king of New York in the 80s and 90s. So everyone wanted a picture with President Trump. He was doing it big then, and he's doing it big now. Let's just look at the president and some other big names he was with. Sorry, wrong picture. Hold on. Wrong once again. You know what? Let's get back into the timeline, because once you follow the actual facts, the media story falls apart. Let's look at some flight logs. See, President Trump flew with Epstein 8 times, and the majority of those times was with his wife at the time, Marla Maples, their daughter Tiffany, and their son Eric, along with the nanny, all right here. And they only flew from Palm Beach to Jersey or to Washington, D.C. The president's last flight with Epstein was in 1997. And this is where we run into our first problem, because see, Jeffrey Epstein didn't buy his island until 1998. So again, President Trump last flew with Jeffrey Epstein in 1997. Epstein bought his island in 1998. Now fast forward to 2004, and this is where their friendship ended, when they were both bidding for this oceanfront mansion in Palm Beach, Florida. And President Trump, like the boss he is, outbid him at $41 million. And that checks out because in 2019, President Trump said he hadn't spoken to him in 15 years. 2004, 2019, the math checks out. Now in 2007, President Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago for stealing spa employees, including Virginia Giuffre, who in one of her last posts was extremely happy that Donald Trump was the president. President Trump even cooperated in 2009 in an investigation that got Epstein arrested. Fast forward to 2019, it was President Trump's DOJ that arrested Jeffrey Epstein on federal charges. That would be called the opposite of helping a friend out.
So, this is what the receipts actually say. The flights they scream about, mid-90s, with his wife, his kids, the nanny, on short trips. His last flight with Epstein was in 1997. Epstein bought the island in 1998. They fall out over a real estate deal. Trump outbids him on a mansion in 2004, and they're done. 2007, Trump gets banned. Oh, I'm sorry, not Trump. Epstein gets banned from Mar-a-Lago for messing with spa staff. Trump cooperates with investigators who come calling, and in 2019, it's Trump's DOJ that takes Epstein down on federal charges. I mean, he's right. You don't ban your close friend from your club, cooperate with investigators, and, then have your own DOJ arrest them if your goal is to protect the guy. On top of that, you got Epstein's victims, his lawyers, even people who hate Trump, all saying the same thing. He wasn't involved in the abuse. But they will keep showing you 4 photos forever because they know most people will never check the dates. If I'm being completely honest, I didn't know most of this timeline. And here's what really fries the circuits. Trump was calling that island out years ago, way before it was cool to talk about. Let's roll this back to 2015.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool. So,
the Clintons are friends
and he's
of
been
yours,
there
right?
for many times.
The Clintons are friends.
Well, I can't say friends, but I know
You're friendly. You know them.
They play at my clubs a lot. I have clubs, and everybody likes to play at my clubs.
Are you saying there's a political problem for her if she runs for president?
It could be a political problem. Look, he could be a political problem. Right now, he's Teflon, and right now, maybe not. But he could end up being a political problem.
That's one question. You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, I'll say, a guilty man doesn't go on camera in 2015 before the headlines and say, that island was a cesspool, asks Prince Andrew. You do not publicly throw a spotlight on a place you're secretly scared of. That's not how people who are trying to hide something talk. Again, that doesn't mean Trump is perfect. That does not mean he never had bad friends. It means the story that they told you and tried to sell you, that he was the mainstream behind, or mainstream, he was the mastermind, rather, behind Epstein's world. They don't line up with the receipts. Meanwhile, the same people who buried the story to protect Democrats and other elites, now they want to act like they're the Avengers 4 presidents later. So the question is, right now, when the survivors are begging for all the files to come out, what does Trump actually stand with this? Don't worry, I got your answer. I want you to watch what he says when he's asked about releasing everything.
We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others, are all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize the great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein. But they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't. They can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time.
So you have survivors saying release the files. You have a bill in Congress that will force those documents out. And you have Trump on camera saying, fine, release it. We already gave tens of thousands of pages, give them everything. Now, the ball is not in a hashtag. It's in Congress. It's in the Senate. It's in the hands of the same people who looked the other way while victims were screaming for over a decade. So when you see Schumer dodge the question, when you see ABC bury Virginia Giuffre's story for years, when you see the media ignore Clinton's flights and painting in Epstein's house, then dust the whole story off because they think it hurts Trump. Ask yourself just one very simple question. Are they really chasing justice, or are they just trying to weaponize victims to keep their own side in power, basically? Me? I'm with the survivors. Release all the files, every name, every page, every administration. And if you made it to the end of this video, that's all I want you to put. Nah, you know what? I want y'all to put Clinton's having a bad day. That's what I want y'all to put in the comment section. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.